Absolutely needs to resign after what happened here. He failed to act on so many different levels, and him himself, he's responsible for this massive failure. This could have been easily stopped both by the FBI and the Sheriff's Department had they acted.
Well, Kyle, there is just one of the voices calling for Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel to resign. It is time we start holding people like Sheriff Israel responsible, a man who has exposed himself as a gun hater at a time when guns, even guns in the hands of his deputies, could have saved lives. So as we continue to focus on solutions here at NRATV, solutions in how we protect our kids, the media continues to vilify the NRA and all of us who are members. Reporters wage an all-out assault on us and our mission to protect your freedoms. More and more Americans are now looking at the very question to the sheriff and asking, is he fit to lead? Too many mistakes, too many missteps along the way from his office, yes, the FBI, yes, mental health professionals. But the biggest question is, why did those sheriff's deputies not rush into the firefight to save those kids? It's a legitimate question, one Sheriff Israel refuses to answer or take responsibility for. His responses to questions are bizarre at best and a dereliction of duty at worst. This sheriff should be ashamed of himself. Listen to him with Jake Tapper.
The last question, sir. Do you think that if the Broward Sheriff's Office had done things differently, this shooting might not have happened?
Listen, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, O.J. Simpson would still be in the record books.
I don't know what that means. There's 17 dead people, and there's a whole long list of things your department could have done differently.
How could listen, that's what after action reports are. That's for lessons learned reports are for. I have entered into conversation with Chuck Wexler of the Police Executive Research Forum. They will be coming to town to do an independent after action lessons learned report. We understand everything wasn't done perfectly, and if it happened in Los Angeles or Chicago or any other city, every person wouldn't perform perfectly. That's not what happens. Yes, if Scott Peterson went into, do I believe if Scott Peterson went into that building, there was a chance he could have neutralized the killer and say.
Let's break down what the sheriff is saying here. If its and buts were candy and nuts, something about O.J. Simpson and the L.A. Police Department, does the sheriff not understand this happened in Broward County? And we're not talking about O.J. Simpson. We're talking about 17 dead young Americans, including a football coach who literally used his body as a human shield because there were no guns around. That sheriff's deputies were outside taking cover apparently behind a cruiser. So a football coach had to spring into action with no way to defend himself, only his body to defend those kids. Sheriff Israel throws around words like ifs and buts and candy and nuts when literally parents in Broward County are burying their children. You want to talk about calls for this sheriff to resign. He wants to bring in police executive boards to look and see what happened. At this point, parents want to know, why didn't you act earlier? Parents want to know, why weren't deputies trained better? Parents want to know, why wasn't the school secure for these kids? You can do all the posts you want until you commit to getting better, which I don't think this sheriff has. He called himself leading as an excellent leader. Awesome leadership. That's the direct quote from this sheriff. It's not awesome leadership when you do not commit and take responsibility. Responsibility for the inaction of your department and responsibility to get better. It's not happening. Continue the interview with the sheriff.
Save lives, yes, I believe that. But as far as anything else done at this point, I can't say that.
Well, we hope you get to the bottom of it.
I might say it. What's that?
We hope you get to the bottom of it, sir. There are a lot of people wondering about a lot of questions.
We will. And there's no timeline on it other than to work as fast as we can, but we want to get it right. We want to get it accurate. When we come to the public, we want accurate information, and we're not going to push forward to meet the timeline of a show or a newscast.
There was no timeline when 17 young lives were lost. There was no timeline for this shooter. The shooter didn't care about whether or not that the sheriff was prepared or not. The shooter only knew that he had free reign inside of a school that was a gun-free zone, inside a school where the one deputy that was there didn't act, The other deputies that showed up didn't act. So the gun-free zone, again, became a killing field. The sheriff talks about action. Where was the action before this shooting? That's what people want to know. His lack of understanding that people simply want a leader to take responsibility is death-defying to me, that he cannot understand. This very simple deal that a leader leads. The sheriff is not doing that.